Welcome back to Firebrand Hobbies. I'm your host Tyson, and today we'll be painting up the Cultist models from the Dark Vengeance box set using the slap chop technique. So the first step to do when you want to use slap chop technique is priming the model black and then dry brushing it with gray sear on the whole model, and then dry brushing it again with Corax white on the kind of lighter parts of the model where the light would be showing the most. Other than that, the first step was to focus on the leather bits of the model first, which I used snakebite leather on the first layer of the model, and then I would go back over it with wildwood contrast paint to put in on the recesses and make the leather dark. So I got a hold of these models by my friend who found a Dark Vengeance box set, which is kind of rare to find nowadays, I would say. I've been wanting to get these Cultist models for my Death Guard army for a while now, but he bought the Dark Vengeance box set and only wanted a couple models from it and gave me the Cultist and the Hellbrute, which I appreciated a lot because both of those models are really nice. And so it was just nice to get these new models up and paint them up for my Death Guard army. With the wildwood contrast paint, when I went back over the leather, I put it on the more flat areas and kind of the recesses of the leather itself. You don't really need to use wildwood. The snakebite leather itself is a really good kind of brown to make a leather effect, as the name implies of it. But it's just to make it darker and have the kind of lighter parts where like the folds happen show up more. After the leather was complete, I then went over certain parts of some models that usually had a kind of a baggy cloak over them with Black Templar, and Black Templar was also used on the boots as well with some of the models and some of the wiring. Now I know when you compare Cultists to Poxwalkers usually get the better end of the stick compared to these guys, but Cultists are kind of a good fluffy unit. And also, they're the only cheap unit that can actually do actions on objectives. And it has proved useful when I was going up against my friend who was playing War Leaders. We were doing Tempest of War, and I got a mission with an action on it. And sure enough, I had these guys in my backfield objective, and it worked. I used Militarum Green on the trousers of some of the cultist models itself, but also I did decide to make some of the cultist models look like my Imperial Guard army, so I used Space Wolves Grey on some of them as well. Blood Angels Red was used on the boots of the models that I wanted to make look like my Imperial Guard army. Militarum Green was used on the Chaos symbols hanging off the models themselves. When it came to the flesh, some models were painted with Plaguebearer's flesh just to show Nurgle's corruption on them, but I didn't put it on all of them. The rest of them were painted on with Reikland's flesh shade. Now some models had Chaos symbols carved into their flesh or just had scars on them in general. So I used Caribert Crimson on those scars and kind of symbols carved into them just to show some irritated skin. When it came to the weapons, Skeleton Horde was painted on some models' hilts of the improvised weapons that they had, but other than that, known oil was applied on all the metallic parts of the model itself. Now when it comes to the metallic parts, you can actually paint with Lead Belcher or Grey Knight Steel or Iron Warriors, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I personally just did known oil because it's quicker, simple, and it still kind of gives it a metallic effect, but it's not as blatantly metallic as like Lead Belcher. Some models that had gas masks, I also put Tesseract Glow in their eyes to kind of give it a woke glowing effect. After all set was done, I was completed with all my cultists. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and comment, and if you want to follow up on more Warhammer related content, subscribe. It's free and you don't have to pay a penny for it. I'll see you guys in the next video.